Okay, so this morning I had another cool experience. Okay, so I had a hard time going to sleep after 2:45 a.m. in the morning. I told Joel to give me something awesome like the statue scenario and the blue ice igloo scenario. So anyway, this experience was this morning, and I almost forgot the other out-of-body experience I had this morning before 2:45 a.m. And then the scenario right before this other one I'm going to talk about or whatever. I almost forgot those two scenes or whatever, and dream or whatever, but I just remembered a few hours ago. So basically, okay, so the one that I almost forgot, that OBE lucid dream was before 2:45 a.m. And I was ice skating, and well, Joel, he's taken me on an ice skating rink before, and I've never even been ice skating. But yeah, so that was before 2:45 a.m. I was on an ice skating rink, and I was actually ice skating. It was so real and everything. And then I looked down at my my blades. Okay, my first OBE lucid dream before these apartment scenario, I was ice skating. I was looking down at my blades, just shocked how easily I was gliding across the ice. I noticed how I sort of had to skate with my feet pointed out, with the blades at the side of my feet kind of going out. So the blades were kind of going to the, left on my left foot, and the blades were going to the right on my right foot. And when I looked down at the blades were darkish brown gray color. And I was just shocked I was actually ice skating, since I had never been before. And I actually reached down and I touched the ice, and it was cold. And I also noticed it was cold in the whole ice skating rink because of the ice. Because all of the stuff I always wondered, because I've never really been on an ice skating rink before. And it felt like it was probably like 62 degrees, I don't know if it's really chilly in ice skating rinks. I mean, you'd think it would be. I mean, you'd think it wouldn't be warm or anything because the ice would melt, but I have no idea. So it's like, that was kind of funny, but Joel has done that before, putting me on an ice skating rink before. Okay, so anyway, so that was before 2:45 a.m. And then, okay, so then I had a hard time. So then I woke up at 2:45 a.m. and had a hard time going back to sleep. I was confident I was going to go back to sleep, but I probably didn't go back to sleep till like 4 a.m. probably. But at least I did go back to sleep. So anyway, I was asking Joel to come give me something awesome, like the blue ice igloo scenario and the statue scenario. Okay, so after 3:45 a.m. Okay, hold on. It's like I was renting this apartment, and I went inside this apartment, and I kid you not, there was like 40 freaking rooms in this apartment. I mean, it was huge. Had like 40 rooms. Some of them were probably kitchens, bathrooms, etc., but there was like 40 rooms. And so I went ahead and rented the apartment. And I was walking around the apartment for quite some time, and I was just like, well, I guess I will live here, and I will just live out of 2 of the rooms, and I would just leave all the other, 40 rooms or whatever empty. But I started walking around this apartment, and like I said, I had like 40 freaking rooms, and I'm like, I don't need this many, I was walking around, I was like, I don't need this many rooms. And then I started thinking I'm just going to live in 2 of the rooms and just leave all the other ones empty, because I knew like that would be hard to fill all those other rooms with shit, you know what I mean? So okay, so that was so that was the first part of the scenario. And okay, hold on. And then here's the awesome one, but I'm going to try to talk about this one fast. So the second scene, I went to another, and this was just an apartment. It was an apartment. Okay, it was just a regular apartment. Except it really wasn't. And the second scene, I went into this huge, colossal Colosseum auditorium, spiraling up like about 50 freaking stories, around and around and around and around. It was all white. It was all dilapidated, like they needed to paint and shit. Like it was all like white, almost like white plaster and clumps, you know, peeling away from the floor, the sides. I don't actually remember seeing the roof or the ceiling, I mean, but it was like freaking 40 stories high. And this was just a regular apartment, or at least, you know, that's how they programmed the scenario. Joel made me think that this was just a regular apartment that needed to be rented. And so I walked in, and actually, okay, so, get off my leg, baby, it hurt my leg. Okay, and also it almost seemed like half, like, I don't know, like half of it was underground. It almost seemed like half of it was kind of cave-like it was part cave. And as far as I remember, the floor was actually kind of like hard, almost like a cave, like hard mud or something. But the whole sides, I mean, it was just all white. All, you know, it all needed to be renovated and stuff. And it was just all like this white plaster shit just coming away from, you know, just pulling down from the sides and shit. It was so weird. But it was like huge. And it was just all, like, there was no steps or anything. But it was just like spiraling, like you'd have to just kind of walk up the inclines, you know. It was spiraling up the outer part of the apartment. But there was no steps. It was just, you know, like inclines or whatever, spiraling up. And like I say, it was, and like I said, this was the most amazing thing too. It was the most amazing thing, almost just like the BLUE ICGLOO that Joel stuck me in. And so that's how I'm gonna have to phrase it from now on. Come and give me something awesome, you know, like that apartment, like the Colosseum apartment, like the statue scenario, and like the BLUE ICE IGLOO. And then he'll give me something cool like he did this morning. But okay, now here is the other cool part. Okay, now I was just observing the apartment. I had no desire to rent it because I had already rented one. Oh, you know what? Yeah. Well, this is funny because I was just looking at some apartments on YouTube. These really teeny tiny Japanese apartments. And one person was just going in there and looking at it. Yeah, this one woman had already rented one, but she wanted to go see the other two that was near her. And so the, I don't know, landlord or whatever showed her the other two. And so I think that's where Joel, that's how he programmed this experience, because the first apartment I had already rented. Well, and then the second one, he just wanted to show it to me. That's so funny. I just now thought of that. Because he tries to copy everything, you know, in your brain or whatever. So, okay, here's the other funny part. And like I say, it almost seemed like part of it was like down underground. I know it's weird, but at least a third of it was underground. And I was just like, wow, you know, it feels muggy and damp in here. And I knew that it would probably never be able to get rented out because I knew there would be mold problems. And check this out. The other part of the scenario was like so weird. there were like some lab technicians or scientists or whatever. Well, in the scenario, the thought was like lab technicians, not scientists, but like lab technicians. But over to the left, like when I first was placed in the scene, you know, and after I started observing it, and then I looked up and everything, and it was just all white. And so yeah, I suspect the ceiling was white as well, but I don't know if I would have really been able to see it, because it was like 40 stories high. And over to the left, so after I started observing this auditorium Colosseum type of apartment, over to the left in a small little roundish, squarish area, you know, it was on well, that's what's weird. This was just like this is what was kind of weird. It's just like a 1-floor apartment, except, you know, it was just spiraling. You could just like, you could still walk up 50 stories if you wanted to. You know, on the outer edges, it was spiraling up. But it was basically just a 1-floor apartment. And so anyway, over to the left, and about like, I don't know, 100 feet? No, not 100 feet. 20 feet, 30 feet? Shit, I don't know. 30 feet by 30 feet. You know, not super huge, but 35 feet by 35 feet, little square round area, kind of blocked off area. These lab technicians, they had all these little vials and solution in the vials, because they were seeing it, and I even saw the substance and stuff in the vials, like it was like greenish and yellowish and bluish, because they were trying to grow mold to see how fast the mold was going to grow and stuff. And I was thinking, you know, in my head, there's no way that they're ever going to be able to rent this apartment, because it's going to have mold issues. Because, you know, in the scenario and everything, I actually felt the humidity and the dampness and everything. And caves would be kind of humid and shit. And I felt like, you know, you know, the bottom part of the Colosseum, 1/3 of it or whatever, was like underground, like in a cave, because it felt like the atmosphere of a cave. And yeah, so there was about, and it was all women. There was about, I don't know, like 4 women, maybe 4 or 5 women walking around that little 35 square foot roundish little area, where they were testing to see how fast mold was going to grow and stuff. And then, you know, I was just standing there to the right of that area, and I kind of started to walk forward, but I actually started to kind of walk up an incline, because I told you that, you know, basically it was just kind of spiraling up or whatever. I mean, the bottom floor, I guess there was still kind of an incline. The bottom floor, you know, that I was on, there's only 1 floor, but I guess as far as I remember, there was still kind of an incline. And so I started kind of walking ahead, and then I kind of started looking up, and just a couple feet above me and all around me were like these hanging vials, but they were just kind of like floating. Like but these were longer ones, like these longer 5-inch glass vials just floating around, with all that solution in them, like green and yellow and blue. And I'm just like, wow, you know, the landlords, you know, are never going to be able to rent this place, because I knew there's too much mold and shit. And you could even see, you know, all the mold. That's why those colors were those colors, because it was actual mold. And it was like it was the most coolest thing ever. And I know where Joel got that from too, because one time I was looking on Amazon about mold testing kits. So that's where Joel got the idea, but that was the most coolest freaking thing to see. That was just as cool as all the statues that he showed me, which for some stupid reason, I can't even remember the features of hardly any of them, but they were the most creepiest, you know, statues. And basically, you know, when you see their expressions, they come to life. You know, that's how Joel creates things, you know? Like, things in the scenario, like, they'll come to life, you know? Sort of like the expressions and stuff on the statues' faces. And that's how it kind of was in that statue scenario or whatever. But that was awesome. And then, you know, this one was just as awesome as the blue ice igloo that he stuck me in. But anyway, that was the coolest thing ever. And like I say, it was just all white and not off-white, really, really white color. Really, really white. I mean, totally white. Not like an off-white color, but super white. Like whiter than this paper. You know, the whole place was just white, white, white. And it all needed to be renovated. And I know I'm probably I know I'm probably forgetting a couple things. But anyway, but the plaster was just kind of just peeling off everywhere. The walls and everything. Just totally peeling off. Because like I say, it still needed to be renovated before they rented it out. But I knew they were never going to be able to rent it out because of all the mold problems. But that was wild. Okay, and then I had this other creepy experience. I was in a hospital for a long, long time, and I was like walking around, observing. Then I went inside one of the hospital rooms, and my friend Angie was laying there. And I was just thinking, like, wow, I thought she died last April. Why is she laying here now? Because I knew she had died last April. But then when I looked down at her, she was really weird looking. Like her face was all red, you know, because she was, you know, she was supposed to be sickly and stuff, you know, in this hospital. And her face was like all red and shit. And it was really weird. Like, only way I know how to explain it is like, kind of like, her face was kind of dropping down below her hair, or vice versa. It was just weird. I mean, you would be amazed at what these aliens create. Like, if I could freaking... And sometimes I can draw exactly what they show me. But sometimes it's so hard. Like, it would be really hard to try to draw, well, maybe not, like the Colosseum and stuff. And, but like it would be hard for me to try to, well, because I don't really know how to draw people and stuff, but it would be hard for me to try to draw what she looked like. But it was just, that's the only way I can explain it. Like, her whole face was kind of falling down several inches, like, below her hairline, or so, you know what I mean? It was just weird, and her face was like red, really red, and she just looked really, really weird. You know, because she was dying, basically. But I was like, I don't understand why she's laying here now, because I thought she died last April. So, but that was kind of weird and creepy, but it was a lot longer than that. Oh, and then I had this other experience a couple days ago or whatever. My stepdad, we were driving, he was driving, and I don't know where we were driving to, but we stopped off at a pretty big gas station. And we were in the car, my stepdad was driving, we stopped off at a gas station, pretty big gas station, for a pit stop. My sister was in the car, a couple other people with me in the car. I can't remember who they were, but it was like, I can't remember if my mom was in it, but my sister was in it, and a couple other people. And my stepdad stayed in the car, and I went in, you know, to make a pit stop or whatever. Over to the right, when I went into the gas station, was nothing but huge, you know, just stall after stall after stall after stall after stall. It was a bathroom, and a lot of them just boom, right there. And the stalls were just totally nasty. Didn't have any doors, really, for privacy. So I kept trying to go from stall to stall to look for a clean bathroom. Joel does that all the time, sticks me in nasty-ass bathrooms, and I'm forever trying to walk up and down, trying to, you know, I'm trying to look at 50 freaking stalls, trying to find the cleanest stall, and they're all like freaking nasty as hell. And this lasted a long time, trying to find a clean potty. And of course there was no clean potty. It was all totally disgusting. And Joel is always putting me in nasty bathrooms, like beyond nasty. And a lot of times bathrooms are like that, you know, like at not McDonald's, Walmart and shit. But I never tried to go to any you know, public bathroom or anything. But I know when I was younger and stuff, they got real nasty. Like I remember like the Venture bathroom and stuff, and it was pretty small, and it would get really nasty, you know. Venture was popular before Walmart because Walmarts didn't exist yet. But anyway, so that was another like experience, and that lasted quite a while too. Me trying to find a clean potty, and then I remember even sitting down on one of the toilets, and I'm like, well, I don't want to sit on this one. I mean, there's no privacy, there's no door, you know. Like it was just like so weird. And then as you walked into the gas station, like boom, it was just all right there over to the right, like 50 freaking stalls. It was just so weird, just kind of like out in the open. But some of them did kind of have doors, but then they didn't cover anything. It was so weird. Well, you know, people always say they would have dreams like where they're naked and shit. Well, yeah, the aliens do that because they like to do embarrassing things to you. That's the aliens doing that. When I was younger, I think I used to have dreams like that, but I don't anymore. I do remember having some dreams like that when I was younger. Shit, I'm probably not going to have time to talk about any of these other ones. Oh yeah, and then there was another scenario I had. It was fun. I was shopping with my boss at a mall, and it lasted quite a while too. Just shopping. Eventually, we went up an escalator and to a department store, and we were just shopping in this mall, like, and department store forever. And that was kind of fun. That was like a couple days ago. But let's see, I'm gonna try to do this other scenario real quick. Let's see. Not stairs. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's gonna take too much. Okay, come on. Morning. Okay, I'll try to talk about this one real quick. So I'm trying to see how long it will take me to log all my OBE lucid dreams before I get burned out. A few days ago, one of my OBE lucid dreams was that I was in a college classroom, which I have been in this same classroom before under OBE. I've been in that same classroom before under another OBE. It's like we were doing training for current work I am doing now. Wait, okay, it was like I was doing training. Oh, yeah. So in the scenario, it was like I was doing training, you know, for current work that I'm doing now and current work like in the scenario. But like I say, it was not college work. I was in a college classroom, but it was not college work, if you know what I mean. At one point, I spilled a soda on the carpet, and my boss was staring at me, and I looked down, and I leaned down, and I was dabbing it up with Kleenex, and the carpet was exactly like the thin new carpet that they just put, you know, in my office in real life, and it was like bluish, grayish. It was almost like exactly like what they laid down in real life at my workplace. That was all in the scenario. And like I said, I've been in that same college classroom many times, more than just twice, in that in other OBEVR lucid dreams. But before, wait, hold on. But before that, there was me, my boss, and about 5 to 6 other coworkers in the classroom. There's only about, like I say, 6 or 7 people. Okay, one started like arguing with me about reverse installment agreements. I told the person like, oh my God, I never heard of a reverse installment agreement. Like she was trying to accuse me of doing something wrong. And I even looked down at the training manual and it said reverse installment agreements. And I was like, wow, I never heard of this. Joel is quite funny. I did used to do installment agreements at my job, but I never did reverse installment agreements. That isn't what they're called. But Joel's funny. He actually put reverse installment agreement for whatever reason in the scenario. And that was kind of a funny scenario. I may have time to do this other one real quick. Okay, so the morning of December 3rd, I had a funny experience too. I was in this huge hotel room that had several rooms within it. I drew it. Oh, I'm going to have to bring it up though. I did draw it though. It almost was like a huge long rectangle, huge wide hallway with several rooms on each side. Wait, hold on. It was almost like a huge long rectangle, huge wide hallway. Well, no, actually the hallway divided the two motel rooms. But the motel room had like 8 motel rooms within it. But that's how Joel programmed the experience. Okay, so I had a fun experience. I was in this huge hotel room that had several rooms within it. And like I say, 2 motel rooms were separated by a huge, long, rectangle, wide hallway. And both motel rooms, like I said, had like 8 to 10 motel rooms within it. I was there with my mom, sister, and some friends, and I cannot remember why we were there. But there were some funny parts in it. I was in the scenario for quite some time, just walking around, observing, etc., talking to people and family. At one point, I walked over outside of the area I was in, up against the far wall, and there was one huge toad and one smaller toad. The smaller one was basically looked like Quirky, and the other one looked like Amanda, those 2 toads that I used to have. But they weren't Amanda and Quirky, they were toads that looked like them. Joel was trying to copy those toads from my brain that I used to have. They both were in some dirt, almost like there was a flower bed right there with some grass within the hotel up against the wall. But I knew they needed to be outside. The flower bed area was just about 18 inches wide and very long. So I placed the smaller one in my mouth so it wouldn't get away. Then when I looked at the toad that looked like Amanda, I noticed she was fat and twice the size as Amanda. She was really fat. Oh, even in this experience, I knew that they were not Amanda and Quirky, but I was thinking under the scenario, wow, she looks like Amanda and she looks like Quirky. But I knew they were 2 different toads. And I do not know why I placed the smaller toad in my mouth. Maybe because to keep him wet and moist. I know one reason why I put him in my mouth was for carrying purposes instead of just holding him with my hand, which was weird because for some reason I just thought that they didn't belong there and I wanted to try to save them and relocate them someplace else. So eventually a big group of women and a couple of men showed up and was going to stay in the other hotel area, which was parallel to mine and was designed the same way, like one motel room with 8 to 10 motel rooms within it. They were there to have a political discussions, almost like a book club discussion. And we could all just intermingle, which made no sense because we were not part of that group. I did talk to some of the women. Another part of the scenario, I walked into a smaller room that looked like a motel room, and behind the bed and headboard, there were a bunch of red-eared sliders swimming like as if they were in a long rectangle turtle pool behind there, right behind the headboard. I was thinking, wow, this is strange, and these turtles look like they are being abandoned. I was worried about them because it almost seemed like they were being hidden there as well. The funny thing is I did not see any perimeter of the pool, so to speak. The perimeter, I saw the water and everything. The perimeter was invisible. I knew the other clan of people were only going to stay one night. Okay, I knew the other clan of people, for whatever reason, was only going to stay one night. Here was the other weird part. By the way, I talked to a lot of the women, too, who was part of the political club. Oh, did I already say that? I think I already said that. Oh, but anyway, but yeah, so these toads, I mean, these red ear sliders, there was, I don't know, maybe about 4 or 5 of them, you know, in this pool right behind the headboard. But you couldn't really see the perimeter, but it was just all water, you know, 4 feet deep, just about 2.5 feet by, you know, 6.5 feet long, or about, yeah, or about 3 feet wide. 3 feet wide and 6.5 feet long. They were just swimming, and there was no perimeter or anything. I mean, you couldn't see a visible perimeter. It was, you know, they would float. They were swimming in the water, but I could see the water. Okay, so anyway, but here was the other weird part. Oh yeah, like I say, by the way, I talked to a lot of the other women too, who was part of the political club, and I think I already said that. So anyway, I walked back over there in that same general area where the awesome toads were, that looked similar to Amanda, except just fatter. And by the way, she was so fat and cute. I was glad seeing Amanda. I was glad to see an Amanda look-alike in my scenario. So anyway, in this area, there was like a very deep downstairs that was not stairs. It was kind of like a manhole. I don't remember seeing any stairs, and this compartment went straight down. I mean, it went way down, many, many, many stories. This was just like a big square hole about 4 feet by 4 feet. But actually, I think, did I say square? I think it was, well, I could be wrong. Shit, now I can't remember. I think it was, it may have been square. Because see, now I'm confused because I went on the internet to look at some manholes, and manholes are round. But anyway, I think it was square. So anyway, it was 4 feet by 4 feet. I do remember seeing some bent greenish till bars where you held on and shimmied your way down. That was flush with the square hole and floor. For whatever reason, I wanted to go down there, and I started to go down there, and I started to hold on to the bent bars. When I looked down, I kid you not, it went down 100 stories or more. This was all virtual reality. My body at this point, when I looked down, my head was just a few inches above the floor. My body was in the hole, so to speak, except for my head. My whole body was in the manhole. I felt like I was going to fall, and I got scared. That is when the woman from the political group with short, dark brown hair came walking towards me, and she helped me out. She looked like my old coach, but it was not her. And she reached down and took one of her hands and pulled me right out with her right hand, you know, out of the manhole, so to speak. I was so relieved. I literally was going to fall down there as I was trying to shimmy down there myself for whatever reason. I was literally, you know, I felt like I was going to fall. After she pulled me out, I told her, wow, you are strong. I looked at her hands, and they were not overly small, but they were not overly large either. She told me she worked out or something like that. I know why Joe put that hole in the scenario. He was trying to copy off of Ghostbusters 2, where they went down underground in the sewers. The last part of the scenario, my sister, me, and my mom were about to go to dinner. So I went to the shower area. This scenario was really long too. Me and my mom were about to go to dinner, so I went to the shower area, which was a communal shower area. It was outside the 2 huge hotel rooms back around, not far from where the toads were. I went into the shower, and I literally took a shower for at least 1 hour. This was all virtual reality. I was literally taking a shower and everything. I was afraid my family or the political group was going to bitch at me for taking too long. The shower was super high. I remember getting and putting the big, huge bar of soap way up high on a very high rack that was at least, 3 feet taller than me, in front of me. The bar of soap was like 5 inches by 3 inches. I took forever washing this area and that area. I mean, I literally was taking a shower forever and ever and ever. I took forever washing this area and that area. It was funny. This was the longest part of the scenario. The door was basically a shower. The door was basically a shower curtain that was flimsy. There were a few other showers as well, and I remember thinking, gross, I don't like stepping into where other people have stepped before. Joe knows I'm OCD, and I don't like communal stuff. But yeah, I was literally taking a shower forever. And I was just like, okay, I need to wash my feet, I need to wash my underarms, blah, 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 blah. But like I say, this bar of soap that I was using, it was white too. It was 5 inches by let's see, 5 inches by 3 or 3.5 inches. It's pretty. It was a really big bar of soap. And basically, like I say, there wasn't really a door. It was just kind of like a shower curtain, and it was just kind of flimsy. And I think Joe got that from a bar that we used to go to. That the bathroom stalls had a freaking shower curtain as the stalls. I mean, as the doors. I think that's where he got that from. But I think but it was fun. It lasted quite a while. But I can just kind of show you what these motel rooms look like. I forgot to bring it up. I don't even know if I'm gonna have time, but this is probably gonna time out. But this is funny too. I'm probably not gonna have time for all this. This is kind of funny. This video right here. Shit, I don't know how much time I have. Okay, history. Let's see. Yeah, this is kind of funny. Look at what this dude has. That's kind of funny. But anyway, okay, it's the Yahoo, let me see. I mean, it's no big deal, but Yahoo. Okay, let me see. Get on Yahoo. Email. Okay, come up. It's no big deal. I could probably draw it on the template or whatever. Oh, somebody died from the monkeys. I thought I sent it to me. Let's see. How do I go down? Okay, I think I did. Scenario Frankenstein. Oh no, that's some other scenarios. Hypnotic. Okay, this may be it right here. I think this is it. I mean, this is what the motel room looked like. It was just I mean, these literally were motel rooms. One big motel room that had 10 motel rooms within it. Okay, let's see. Okay, how do I get it up? Okay, well, this is good enough. I was gonna bring it up bigger.